Welcome back to AM Northwest. In a world that often highlights those issues that divide us, a traveling exhibit reminds us that we still have much in common. Here to share more about his work, we welcome the creator of the multimedia art project, A Piece of My Mind, award-winning photographer, John Noltner. Good to have you with us, John.
Good morning,
you also
John.
have a beautiful book out called Lessons on the Road to Peace.
Yeah.
And we're talking, instead of a piece of my mind, we're talking about peace, and P-E-A-C-E.
Yeah.
So tell me what it's all about and this exhibit, because you've traveled, what is it, 46 states, 3 years?
Yeah. For this book and this exhibit, my
Yeah.
wife and I sold our house in Minnesota, and we bought a van named Vinnie Van Gogh.
Okay, I love it. I love it.
And we
Talks
spent,
about the art. Yeah.
and we
gotcha.
spent 2.5 years living life on the road in the United States. We went to a lot of our tension points. We went to the border to talk about immigration in Mississippi, to talk about Confederate monuments, but always looking for people who were trying to find creative solutions to some of these really challenging issues.
What led to this? What inspired this?
You know, I've been working on this project for about 15 years, but the goal of it is, in a divided world, to try to remember what connects us, to rediscover what connects
Right.
us. I was increasingly frustrated with the quality of our national dialogue.
Right.
Certainly hasn't gotten better in the last 15 years.
Right.
And I just wondered if there was something I could do with my skill set, my photography and storytelling, to create an alternative, to create a space where we could listen deeply to what's on other people's hearts.
Tell me about the exhibits at Willamette University.
It's at Willamette University through Monday of next week, and
Okay.
it is it's 64 stories that we gathered from this 2.5-year road trip. There are 5 or 6 people who are Oregonians. Is that the right way to say that?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. And it has their portrait. It has an excerpt from their interview, and it's got a small biography of who they are. And this is a broad range of human beings. This is just really a cross section of who we are as humans.
Let's take a look at a couple of those pictures of Oregonians, and then I'll have you tell me a little bit about them.
Oh yeah, so this is Kelly Britt Davis, who I think...
Beautiful picture, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. That was on their property up in the McKenzie River Valley.
Nice.
Soon after it had burned, when Blue River had
Right.
burned. You know, Kelly has worked on set for Saturday Night Live. She's been in roller derby. She's worked in hospice. And it was just this really sweet story of how she's able to recognize the pain and beauty in everybody's story and help them in whatever way she could.
And our next picture is of somebody I think we all know. There we go, Darcel.
There's
She passed
Darcel.
just 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
And what are the questions that you found from her? What did you ask her that stands out to you?
Well, so what's really interesting is somebody knew that I was coming to Portland and said, "Oh, how would you like to interview the oldest performing drag queen in the world?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, why not?
I want to do that. And so connected with Darcel. And I'd been to drag shows before, but as Darcel was getting ready and as we were preparing to watch the show, I said, "Darcel, what am I going to see tonight?"
Mm-hmm.
And Darcel thought for a moment and said, "Joy.
Yeah.
You're going to see joy." And Darcel was not wrong.
No,
Yeah.
no, that is what happens on her stage.
Yeah.
To this day, even after her passing, it brings joy to everyone.
Right.
What are some of the questions you ask people? Is there like a list of questions you have you want to make sure you ask each of them?
Yeah, you know, I'm trained as a journalist. My degree is in writing, and I've worked for magazines and newspapers for a long time. We frame these conversations around the central question, what does peace mean to you? But we go further and we talk about, you know, when have you seen a great example of that in your life? What are some of the obstacles that you get in the way? But my primary goal is to show up and listen. And so some of my favorite questions are, well, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Or can you tell me more? So that we have an active and deep listening exchange, and I'm able to sort of really hear what's on the heart of the people I'm talking to.
Was there anything that surprised you, maybe even shocked you?
I mean, what continues to inspire me is people who've been through incredibly difficult moments, who could have leaned into hate, who could have leaned into frustration, and have made the choice to lean instead into healing.
That is what we need to hear more of, right?
Yeah,
I mean, is that the goal behind the exhibit?
It really is. I mean, in a very large way, we collectively have leaned into this narrative of division.
Right.
And while those things are true, I also am convinced that it's true that there's a narrative of connection. And if we could invest more of our energy, if we could practice those skills of rediscovering that connection, I think it would serve us all well.
Let's take a look at one more picture that we have.
That's Kate Adair, who was unhoused down in Corvallis. And I spent some time down there connected with the Corvallis Daytime Drop-In Center, and we did some storytelling, and Kate was one of the people who we met. And she talked about how difficult it was being unhoused, in particular because of the way she knew people looked at her.
Yeah.
And so
they don't even see her, I'm sure.
Yeah, they don't even see. And so often we move through the world that way, and there are people who we don't see. And she said that, she wants to be recognized. She wants to be heard. And this is actually one of the goals of the project. We have the public voice where I want people to learn things, but in the one-on-one exchange, I hope that at the end of the conversation, people feel seen and heard and valued.
You've got a keynote speech at Willamette on Monday.
Yeah, Monday
right?
at 7:30.
At 7:30. You'll also be interviewing folks as well. Is
Yeah,
that right?
we do these public studios, and on Thursday for the Willamette community, we're going to be asking people, when have you had a sense of belonging?
Okay.
And people respond in 25 words or less. I do a black and white portrait, and then we combine the words and images. In the course of a day, we might get 40 or 50 or 60 people.
Wow.
And then I flip that production really quickly so I can share those stories back to the community on Monday night.
I love it. We want to tell everyone again, the book is titled Lessons on the Road to Peace, and you can check out the exhibit at Willamette University. We're going to put all that information for you on our website at k2.com. Thank you so much. Great job,
Helen.
by the way. Great
Thanks,
job.
Helen. Great to
All
talk
right, we'll
with
be
you.
right back with more AM Northwest.